Hey everyone, do you guys know that you can use Google Search Console MCP inside Claude? Although there's no official MCP server from Google provided for any of the LLMs. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's this GitHub repo from Suganthan, who's the co-founder of Snippet Digital and Keyword Insights, which allows you to connect your Google Search Console as an MCP server to your Claude Desktop. There's all of these files here, and then if you scroll down, there's this section that gives you an idea of what it would look like using the Google Search Console MCP. So it gives you some ideas of the prompts you can use. You can check cannibalization, you can check quick win keywords, get a snapshot of your website's performance overall. In total, I think there are about 20 tools that you can use. So site snapshot, quick wins, CTR opportunities, traffic drops, content gaps, cannibalization, a ton of things. So you can unlock all of this by just installing this, which also Suganthan has a complete guide for. So there's this complete guide that Suganthan shared on setting up this MCP server step by step. But if you want to check out the process visually, this video is for you. All right, so the first step is to get to Google Cloud homepage. You can get here by clicking console.cloud.google.com, and then we have to start a new project. So you click on this icon right here, and you click on new project. Now here we have to name our project. We can call it anything, GSC MCP server, and then we click on create. Now the project is created. We're going to click on select. So the project is created. The next step is to enable Google Search Console API. So we're just going to search Google Search Console, open up the API, and then hit enable. So now you can see the API is enabled. The next step would be to create OAuth credentials. So we're going to click on credentials. And now I'm going to click on create credentials. This is where it will show me a dropdown. I'm going to pick OAuth client ID. Next up, really quick, it's going to ask for the configuration of your consent screen. So just hit the button here. Next up, it's going to confirm whether the usage is internal or external. You have to click on external, go on to next, add the contact information. Again, it could be usman@modash.io. And then we finish and click on create. All right, so auth configuration is saved. Now I go back to the credentials section, which you can go to from here. And then again, you do the same thing, click on credentials, auth client ID. So now you have to pick an application type, which in our case is going to be desktop app. I'm again going to use the same thing as the title, and then click on create. So when you do that, this pop-up will appear on the screen, and you have to download this JSON so you can save it on your computer. All right, so we're finally at the most exciting step of the process, where we actually install Google Search Console MCP inside Claude and start using it on Claude Desktop. All you have to do is click on your account name in the bottom left, open it up, click on settings, go into developers section under desktop app, and then click on edit config. It will take you to this Claude config file on your laptop, which then you can open up in a code editor of some sort. So I'm going to use VS Code by clicking here. When you do that, this sort of a screen will open up. We can see the entire config file, and this is where the next step will be to add the MCP server. I'm going to show you how. So inside Suganthan's own GitHub repo, there's this blog guide on setting up this exact Search Console MCP server that we're setting up right now. Within that blog guide, if you go to step 5, you will find this piece of code, which is basically the Google Search Console server that you need to add to your config file, and then replace a couple of placeholders. So we're going to just copy this exactly, go back to our VS Code and add a comma, and then just paste it here like this. Now there are two main items that we have to replace. One is Google Search Console auth secrets file. So sharing the actual path to that file. And then second one would be Google Search Console site URL. So this is exactly your domain name. The domain name is pretty straightforward, of course. You just replace it with whatever your website is. I'm going to go with modash.io. And the file path is going to be the JSON file that you downloaded at the start of this video. So I have the file path copied now. I'm just going to paste it here with this placeholder, and there we go. All we have to do now is save this. So I'm going to go into file and hit save right here. The next step from this point onwards is just to restart your Claude Desktop so that it can request authorization of your account. All right, so I just restarted Claude. At this point, if I just throw in any sort of a prompt that initiates the need for the Google Search Console MCP server that we just installed, Claude will instantly ask for an authorization. So we can go with something simple. I'm just going to paste this prompt that says, can you give me a snapshot of my website's Google Search Console performance? And then we'll hit enter and see what happens. All right, so now it's loading tools. And right away, we have this screen open up, but it's asking us for authorization of the account. So I'm going to go with usman@modash.io. This is where we have Google Search Console's access. On this screen, all you have to do is click on allow. So we can see the authentication is successful. We can close this tab down, go back to Claude Desktop, and start using our Google Search Console MCP. All right, instantly we can see Claude is asking us to allow to generate the report from Google Search Console. I'm going to hit always allow and see what it gives us. All right, so here Claude says, I have everything I need. Now let me build the dashboard. Looks like it pulled all of the tools that it needed from that MCP. Remember, the MCP had about a total of 20 tools in it. So looks like it's just pulling everything that it needs in order to build this. All right, so there we go. We have our entire website performance in Search Console presented here in front of us inside Claude. It's still pulling some data, but all I can see right now is a high-level snapshot. So I can see, for example, clicks, impressions, average CTR, average position. And then there's also an alert of the keywords. So how many keywords are critical, as in they dropped in clicks, how many have warnings, potentially maybe on the brink of losing some rankings and stuff like that. And then there's a report on traffic drops. So it's giving us an idea of where we're losing CTR, where it seems like the demand is dropping, as in the search volume of impressions, where CTR is collapsing, or maybe loss of rankings is happening. And lastly, it gives us a short analysis based on the data. And it looks like if I click on this quick wins tab, it starts showing me a couple of keywords that are at striking distance. So perhaps we can already hit them, create some pages, or maybe optimize existing ones and start driving more traffic from these. But overall, it looks pretty good. Now, remember, this prompt that I gave is just to show you a demo of how you can use this and the fact that it actually loads up the data from Google Search Console. But in reality, you can do much more. In the GitHub repo from Suganthan, he himself shares a couple of prompts that you can try with. What are my quick win keywords? Which pages lost traffic this month and why? What content is decaying? What pages are cannibalizing each other? Stuff like that. And he also mentions a list of different tools that you can use and what exactly the answer. You can see it right here. It's a pretty big list to start with. So this is pretty much it. If you like this, please subscribe. You can expect a ton of additional content like this on my channel and in the future coming up soon. I'm Usman, an organic growth strategist, work with B2B SaaS companies to help them drive more revenue from traditional search, Google, and AI search like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, etc. Thanks so much. Peace out.